حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين. ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا ونور قلبنا ومولانا وشفيعنا محمدًا عبده ورسوله. صلوات الله عليك يا سيدي يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فيا حماة الإسلام وحراس العقيدة، يقول الله عز وجل في محكم كتابه بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: وأنكحوا الأيام منكم والصالحين من عبادكم وإمامكم إن يكونوا فقراء يغنيهم الله من فضله والله واسع عليم. وليستعفف الذين لا يجدون نكاحا حتى يغنيهم الله من فضله. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث صحيح رواه البخاري عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله تعالى عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: الدنيا متاع، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام: الدنيا كلها متاع، وخير متاع الدنيا المرأة الصالحة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. My dear respected brothers and sisters and elders in Islam, we begin first and foremost by praising and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are in a state of constantly seeking His help, His forgiveness, His guidance, and His mercy. And we all bear witness that there is no deity worthy of being worshipped except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we all bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His final prophet and messenger. And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His peace and blessings and protection upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his companions, his wives, members of his household, and those that follow them in righteousness until the end of times. Now before I begin, inshallah, I want everybody to please turn off your phones. It's very annoying when I'm giving a khutbah and someone's phone goes off. I lose my train of thought. Turn your phones off, put them on silent. When you step in through that door, this is the akhirah. This is the school of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You left dunya outside. This is not the dunya, this is the akhirah. You're in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's world, not the dunya. You want the dunya, go outside. This is the akhirah right here. So please turn off your phones. I would appreciate that. Jazakumullah khair. Today's khutbah, inshallah, it's not going to be a topic about deen. I'm not going to stand up here for 20 minutes and give you a reminder. It's boring. I don't do that. Today's khutbah is going to be about a problem in our community. Not only is it a problem in our country, it is a problem that is affecting our ummah. And it has something to do with young men like myself and young ladies. And that problem is the problem of marriage. Well, I bet you weren't expecting that. The problem of marriage is something that you do not hear it being talked about at all. It's even worse than death. None of the masajids, with respect towards our ulama, I don't want to say anything bad about them. Nobody talks about this. This is an elephant in the room. It has to be talked about. If this problem continues, you're going to have young men like me. We're not going to get married here. I'm going to get married overseas. And I've already made that decision. Because I've given up on the girls here. And I'll tell you why. So we're going to talk about some of the problems. And the problems is very, very broad. So I'm not going to stand up here and bash the men and say the women are right, or bash women and say that men are right. Everybody's going to get something. I'm neutral. So there's criticism all over. Because this problem of marriage has been going on, it's been going on for years. This is built up to something. It just didn't start overnight. So what are some of the problems? What are some of the consequences? And then what is the solution? So as Muslimin, if we have a problem, where are we supposed to go to? You go to the Quran or you go to the Prophet ﷺ, you go to the Sunnah. But we don't go to the Quran and Sunnah. I'm going to say that again. We do not go to the Quran and Sunnah because we do not have proper understanding of our deen. That's one of the problems that we have. We say that we're Muslimin, but we don't have 100% faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll explain that. So all of us know that marriage is one of the oldest traditions in life. It's as old as time, it's as old as death. It is something that is going to continue until the day of judgment. And it is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. He said for the young man, go get married, do not be celibates. I'll just stay away from women. No. You can't stay away from women. You have to get married. And you'll find a hadith about this. The Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba, don't be celibate, go get married. You have to go get married. But within the past couple of years, we've been noticing that marriage is not really happening that much. It's not really encouraged. Okay, well, what's going on? Why is marriage not being encouraged? What's going on here? The first problem that we have is many of our young men in our community are poor. And I'm one of those young men. And I've been rejected because of that. Oh, well, you're poor, you don't have anything. Okay, so what? Do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to have me go from being poor to rich? Just like that. He can do that. Brother, that's impossible. I've had Muslimin tell me this. That's impossible. No, that can't happen. So you mean to tell me Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite power, His infinite wisdom, قادر على كل شيء, you're going to tell me He can't have someone go from being poor to rich? He's not capable of doing that? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say at the end of Surah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? وَاللَّهُ الْغَنِيُّ وَأَنْتُمُ الْفُقَرَاءُ. Allah is the self-sufficient one. He's the one that's rich. We're poor. It's not the opposite way. We're the ones who are poor, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلِلَّهِ خَزَائِنُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's treasures are everlasting. It doesn't go away. It's everlasting. It doesn't go away. So let's go over these two ayats. This is in Surah An-Nur, the 32nd and 33rd ayat. Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَنْكِحُ الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَامِكُمْ. Now I want you to focus on وَأَنْكِحُ الْأَيَامَ. Don't worry about the other part of the ayah. Just focus on وَأَنْكِحُ الْأَيَامَ. Ibn Kathir rahmatullahi alayh, in his tafsir, he mentions that this is a command in what? What's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling the young men to do? وَأَنْكِحُ الْأَيَامَ. Okay, وَأَنْكِحُ. What word does that come from? Nikah. Okay, what does that mean? Go get married. So marry off your single, free young men. This is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go get married. Okay. Now, in order for you to get married, there's three things that you have to have. You have to have physical and mental maturity, and there has to be mutual affection between you and your spouse. So you can't get married just like that. There has to be physical attraction between you and your wife. If there's no physical attraction, you can't get married. So there has to be that affection. Okay? Is this something that's mentioned in the Quran? Yes. Go to Surah Al-Rum. In the 20th verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that from His many signs, He has created for you a what? A zwaj, a spouse for you. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. That's what marriage is all about. It's about what? مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Compassion and mercy. There has to be love, compassion and mercy between you and your wife. What does the Prophet ﷺ mention in the hadith? He says, the best of you are those that are best to their, what does he say? Your wives. So you have to be good to your wife. You have to be good to her. She has to be good to you too also. It works both ways. It's not a one-way highway. So you have to be good to your spouse, she has to be good to you. طيب. If you look in the second part of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ أَيُغْنِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. That if somebody is poor, do not let his poverty stop you from marrying him. Don't let his poverty stop you from you marrying him. Take him. It's okay. If he is poor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to enrich him. He'll make him rich. It's a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Where does this promise come from? Okay. The 32nd, 33rd ayat. I'm going to go over the 33rd ayah. They are connected to a hadith. Two hadith actually. So the Prophet ﷺ mentions, ثَلَاثَةٌ حَقٌّ عَلَى اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. In another narration, ثَلَاثَةٌ حَقٌّ عَلَى اللَّهِ عَوْنُهُمْ. Both mean the same. There's three types of men that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised. كَانَ حَقًّا عَلَى اللَّهِ أَنْ يُؤَيِّدُهُ. It is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's going to help him. What do you think makes me get up in the morning? I have a smile on my face. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to help me. One of those men, النَّاكِحُ الَّذِي يُرِيدُ الْعَفَافِ, is the young man who wants to get married to save himself from what? What does marriage protect us from? Zina. What else? Looking around. One of the problems that we have, and I'm sorry I'm going to have to say this, but I'm going to have to get into some rated R stuff, okay? But I'm going to keep it rated G. A lot of our young men and women, here's one of the consequences of them not getting married. They end up watching things they're not supposed to be watching. Okay? I think you can understand what I'm saying. If it's not happening here, it's happening in the Arab world, Muslim world, trust me. Sometimes when you have to find out about something, you have to go in the darkness a little bit. And I'm not going to tell you the things that I saw. It's very, very horrifying. I'm shocked. Like, wait, Muslimin are doing this? It's very serious. So you have young men and women that are watching things they're not supposed to be watching. That's number one. What's the second thing that happens? And it happens here, by the way. And it happens overseas, in the Arab Islamic world. You have a lot of young men and women, they do zina. I'm going to say that again. They do zina. Well, Khalid, that's impossible. How can that happen? You think shaitan is going to go after somebody who's misguided? He's not going to go after the person who's misguided. Who do you think he's going to come after? I'm going to go after the person who's praying salah. I'm going to go after the person who's reading Quran. He's doing dhikr. I'm going to get you. You think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to get you? He's going to get you. Shaitan. He's going to get you. He's going to get you. Of course, if you maintain a constant regimen of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shaitan will stay away from you, inshallah. But he's still going to get you. It's very, very difficult. It's not that easy. So we have young men and women that end up doing zina. Okay. Number 3, in the Arab Islamic world, you have homosexuality going on. Because young men and women can't get married. And again, well, Khalid, how do you know about this stuff? Don't ask me. I don't want to tell you. It's very disturbing. That's the third consequence. Okay. What's the fourth consequence that happens if we don't get married? You give up. You give up, especially for the young men. Okay? You give up. What do you think is going to happen to you? You're going to get depressed. You're going to get sad. You want to stay away from people. And we don't care about that. As a community, as parents, we don't care about that. Many times I hear children, they go to their parents, I want to get married. They say, what do you want to get married for? خاصة العائلات العربية, especially Arab families. You come to your mom and dad, I want to get married, they make dua against you. Allah kaza. Allah. Say, why? Your son wants to get married. Get him married. Why are you going to make dua against him for? He wants to get married. Get him married. So we've made haram easy. We've made halal difficult. It's supposed to be the opposite. We're not supposed to make halal so difficult? So why are we doing that as Muslimin? Somebody answer that question for me. Why are we making it so difficult? And I've come to a point, I told my mom, I don't want to get married here. I'm done with the girls here. Take me back home, I'll go marry someone over there. I'm done. Seriously, I'm done. I can't. It's something that it's unbearable. Now, for the young ladies, I don't know if there's any young ladies or even if you have daughters, I want you to listen to this. What's one of the things that's stopping me from getting married? You know about the mahar demands? Oh, Allah al-Musta'an. A few weeks ago, I had a friend of mine, we were talking about this, and he told me a friend of his had to cancel his engagement. And I'm like, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Lish? Why? Do you know how much she was asking from him for his mahar, for his mutakhir? Someone give me a number. How much was she asking? Who said 5,000? I wish. No. Go a little higher. Nope. Nope. Who said 500,000? You're close. Keep going up. $1 million. She asked for $1 million for her mutakhir. Okay. Now, who do you think put that idea in her head? Who specifically? Her dad. Baba. يعني لو شفته للأب شو بقول له؟ الله لا يعطيك ألف عافية بس شو عملت مع بنتك. لا نحن ندعو بالهداية. ندعو بالهداية. You see what the father did? As a parent, I'm going to say this very, very clearly, with respect. I don't want to be disrespectful. As a parent, you do not have the right to tell your daughter what to ask for mahar. Shar'an, according to the Prophet ﷺ. That's none of your business. You do not influence her. Your job as a parent, if she's asking too much, put the price down. That's your job. We don't do that. Why? A lot of our young ladies are what? Materialistic. There you go. All about money. Why is that? It's not their fault, by the way. Why is that? Because they've been corrupted. Social media has corrupted them. Our society is materialistic. Okay? I want money. I want this. I want this. I want this. Like, for example, they seem to be fascinated. They want a G-Wagon. I don't know what it is about a G-Wagon. I want a G-Wagon, G-Wagon. You know how much a G-Wagon is? I actually had a sister tell me that as her mahar. I want a G-Wagon. I am not getting you a G-Wagon. Seriously, you know how much a G-Wagon is? You're looking at $150,000 to $300,000 for a car. I'm not going to spend that money buying you a gas guzzler. Sorry. That's a waste of money. No. That goes against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. What does he say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Another hadith, it's in Bukhari. You'll find this in the chapter of marriage. تزوج ولو بخاتم من الله يفتح عليك من حديد. Marry even if your mahar is equivalent to that of what? A ring. Okay, how much is a gold ring nowadays? What? 1,000? 2,000? I'm not a jeweler. I don't know. Maybe 3,000? 3,000. Let us get married. Why are you making it so difficult? No, I want 50,000. I want 20,000. I want 100,000. بدي بيت بالبلاد. بدي ذهب. بدي كذا. بدي كذا. مين بده يعطيكي? Who are you? Do you pray salah? That's the first question I asked. Do you pray salah? Are you good to your parents? Seriously. And this is something you should ask the young men too, by the way. If a young man comes to you, he wants to get married, it's your right. Ask about it. So we don't want someone who has deen, who has a good reputation, who has manners. We don't want that. نحن شو بدنا واحد يكون عنده مصاري. نحن نطلع على مصرياته. We look at his money. What kind of car does he drive? Does he have a mansion? Okay. He can have money, but he's a womanizer. He does drugs. He drinks. He's going to divorce her daughter after 2 months, and it's happened. It's happened. Okay. So then why are we not looking towards the young men that have deen? Why are we not taking them? Because we're poor? So what if I'm poor? I'm not ashamed about that. The Prophet ﷺ was poor. And he was Sayyid al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen. He was poor. I'm not ashamed of it. You're going to make fun of me because I'm poor? Go ahead. Words. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. I'll give you this nice story. Wanted to marry Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. He found out that she wanted to get married. He went to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to marry Fatima. Do you have the mahar? La, Ya Rasulullah, what's the mahar? I want 400 dirhams. Ya Rasulullah, I don't have that money. Yes, you do. Go sell your dara, your armor. Go sell your armor and come back to me. Ali radiallahu ta'ala raha as-suq with his armor. I want to go sell it. Who do you think he ran into? Who was his brother-in-law? مين كان متجوز بناته للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ Uthman رضي الله تعالى. He ran into his brother-in-law. He was going to help him out. His first act of love. Ali, what are you doing here? Well, Uthman, I'm here to sell my armor. I want to get married to Fatima. Well, how much are you asking for? 400 dirhams. Here you go. Did you see what Uthman did? صدق. Here you go. ما سألوا ما في نقاش ولا شيء. Here's the money. Why can't we do that? Why can't we be like the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala, the way they used to love each other? وَنَحْنَ مُسْلِمِينَ. Here you go. Here's the money. Go get married. Ali was happy. Oh, Jazakallah khair. He's happy. He starts walking away. Uthman's like, Ali, come back. Come back. I have something for you. Here you go. He gave him back his armor. This is a wedding gift from me to you. Here you go. You see what Uthman did, radiyallahu ta'ala? Yani he gave him his mahar, he gave him back his armor. I don't want it. Here. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لما دري بماذا فعل عثمان بسط كثير sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was very happy when he found out what Uthman did, radiyallahu ta'ala. He was very happy, very delighted. So why can't we do the same thing? What's the problem? And I honestly don't really blame the young ladies. It's really not their fault. It's the way that they're raised. The way they're raised. If you do not raise your daughters or sons upon deen, it's going to be a huge problem when they grow up. A huge problem when they grow up. Huge problem. Do you want to know the age group of most of the young ladies in our community? Someone give me a number. What's the number one age group? They haven't been married yet. Someone give me a number. Who said 30? 30. In their 30s. Okay. You think I'm going to take someone who's in their 30s? Absolutely not. I want someone young. I want kids. So they have this sense of entitlement. That's what it is. They think just because they're born here, they went to school here, oh, I'm a princess. You're not a princess. You're not a princess. Okay? If you memorize the entire Quran and you know the 6 books of hadith and you have Bukhari, Muslim memorized, come back. Then you can come to me. Yeah, then I'm interested. I'm not interested in that. I don't look at dunya. Dunya is not important to me. I'm going to go look at your akhirah, your deen. Isn't that what the Prophet ﷺ said? He said, you're going to look at a woman for 4 things. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ركز على شو? Did he say focus on her wealth? He didn't say that. He said if you focus on her wealth, it's not going to get you anything. Like if he said focus on, he said look at her beauty. Okay. He said if you focus on her beauty, you'll be doomed. This is the Prophet ﷺ saying this, not me. You're going to look at her lineage. Lineage is not important. Oh, and that's another problem, by the way. Is too many times your son or daughter will come to you and tell you, hey, I want to marry somebody, but they're not your same ethnicity. A lot of families say no. Wait, that's racism. Nish. Do you want your son or daughter to marry a Muslim or you want them to marry a non-Muslim? Serious question. Do you want them to marry a Muslim or a non-Muslim? Muslimin. طيب. إذا جارك واحد ابن حلال ماله عربي. Why would you say no to him? That's racist. Did the Prophet ﷺ teach us to be racist? He didn't teach us that. So why are we doing that? I'm being serious. This is like, I don't have time. If I had time, this is 2 hours I've talked about this. It's very serious. And some people are laughing. I'm not laughing. This is very serious. Very, very serious. Because if this continues, this problem continues, you're going to have young men like me. I'm not going to get married here. I'm just going to get married overseas. Because the girls overseas, believe me, oh, they're mahar. Oof. Oh my God. It's much, much easier. They want to get married. They don't care about mahar. And I'll end with these 3 points. So for the young men in here, you're not married yet. Don't look at her beauty. Don't focus on that. Focus on her deen. The most important thing is you focus on her deen. If she has deen, she's got everything. Why? Because you want a good mother for your children. That's what you want. You want a good mother for your children, not a beautiful wife for yourself. Remember that. And then for the young ladies, I don't know if there's any sisters in the back, but I might as well say this. If you have a daughter, you want to tell her, daughter, when you're looking for a husband, you want a good husband for yourself, but you want a greater father for your who? For who? Your children. That's what you want. If you focus on these 2 points of advice, pieces of advice, you'll be good, inshallah. But don't make mahar so difficult. Don't make it so difficult. Trust me, if it continues, your daughter's going to be at home in her 30s, she's not married, and you as a parent, you're going to get sad. Trust me, you're going to get sad as a parent. Like, why is my daughter not married yet? What's going on? You're going to get sad about it. We don't want that. None of us want that. So please take into consideration what was said today. Really, think about it. You go home, think about it. You have daughters at home, they're not married yet, sit down and talk to them. Like, you know what, you need to get married. You need to get married. So take it into consideration, inshallah, what was said. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. Can I have everybody scoot up, please? So we can make room for everybody outside. Jazakumullah khair basara. Okay. Now I'll end with this. So for the young men that are in here, you're not married yet. How do you know she's the one? There's 3 signs I want you to look for. So we're not going to ask social media. Don't go ask your mama. Don't ask your dad. We're going to go ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to ask him. Ya Rasulullah, tell us, who is she? Now, I'll tell you, but you're going to have to pay. It's not for free. فَمَا تْوَحِدِ اللَّهِ أَخِي تُقُلْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. A little louder. There we go. Okay. Don't be ashamed. Be proud of it. Muslimin, alhamdulillah. Don't be ashamed of it. So the Prophet ﷺ mentions in 2 ahadith, one is Hasan, one is Da'if. We're going to take the Hasan hadith, okay? The first sign, he says that when you look at her, what does she do to you? Look at my face. What am I doing? She makes you happy. إِذَا نَظَرْتَ إِلَيْهَا سَرَّتْكَ. She makes you happy. Okay, well, what does the Prophet ﷺ mean by that? She makes you happy. You come home, you've had a bad day, right? This has happened to all of us. You come home, you have a bad day. Who's waiting for you at your door? You're not distanna. Your wife. Yeah, just. She's waiting for you. When you see her and she's smiling at you, are you going to forget all your problems? All your problems go away. All your problems go away. You come home, and she's like, hey, why don't you go wash up? I made your favorite dinner. Go change your clothes, go wash up. I made your favorite dinner. That's number 1. Number 2, إِذَا أَمَرْتَهَا أَطَاعَتَكَ. Oh, this is a big one. If you give her a command, she obeys you. She doesn't give you a hard time. She listens to you. Now, you also do the same thing. Again, it's not a one-way highway. Wife and husband have to work together. It's a team. You're a team. So if you tell her to do something, she listens to you. Honey, can you do this for me? Yes, husband. Can you do this for me? Naam, hadir. You're going to have a good life. No headaches. Right? What's the third quality? She doesn't go against your word. Like, means she won't do something that you don't like, and she's going to safeguard your what? Your wealth and your honor. These are the three qualities. The Prophet ﷺ said that if you find these three qualities, this is a good wife. Hold on to her. And then same thing if you have daughters. If you find yourself a good husband for your daughter, you better hold on to him. Don't let him go. Sikko. Don't let him go. Hold on to him. Don't let him go. Now, I'll end with this. So for those of us that haven't been married yet, this is advice to myself. Don't give up. Because I actually found her. She's not here. She's actually in a different country, alhamdulillah. But I actually found her. You're going to find her. Trust me. It just takes time. So as long as you're patient, and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Rab, help me. Talk to him. Make dua to him. Ya Rab, help me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you what you want. Trust me. He's going to give you what you want. As mu'mineen, we're supposed to be optimistic. Don't be pessimistic. Right? Alhamdulillah. As mu'mineen, Muslimin, we're supposed to be optimistic. Always be positive. So the way you think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the same way He's going to think of you. That's all I'm going to say. So don't give up. Even for your daughter. If she hasn't been married yet, she'll get married inshallah. Don't worry. It's okay. It's all right. Sabr. Everything with patience, it's worth it. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Bas. So just be patient. She'll come to you inshallah. Trust me. She's making dua for you. Do you know that? Your wife, you haven't met her yet, she's making dua for you every night. She's crying for you. And then your daughter, her husband's making dua for her. He's crying for her every single night too. So it'll happen, inshallah. Just be patient. This is what my teachers have told me. Khali, just be patient. It's okay. Malish. It's okay. Be patient. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين وفي غزة وفي كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين وفي غزة وفي كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم وحد صفوف المسلمين في فلسطين وفي غزة وفي كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم أنزل عليهم ملائكة من السماء لنصرهم يا عزيز يا جبار. اللهم إنهم جائعون فأطعمهم. اللهم داوي جرحاهم. اللهم تقبل قتلاهم شهداء. اللهم عليك بالظالمين بالظالمين. اللهم عليك بالظالمين بالظالمين. اللهم أهلك الظالمين بالظالمين. اللهم أهلك الظالمين بالظالمين. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. رب اجعلنا مقيمين الصلاة ومن ذريتنا ربنا وتقبل دعاء. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. عباد الله يرحمني ويرحمكم الله. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. عليها نحيا وعليها نموت وعليها نلقى الله. استقيموا واعتدلوا تراسوا ترحموا، رحم الله امرأ ساوى نفسه. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وأنكحوا الأيام منكم والصالحين من عبادكم وإمائكم إن يكونوا فقراء يغنهم الله من فضله والله واسع عليم. وليستعفف الذين لا يجدون نكاحا حتى يغنيهم الله من فضله، والذين يبتغون الكتاب مما ملكت أيمانكم فكاتبوهم إن علمتم فيهم خيرا، وآتوهم من مال الله الذي آتاكم، ولا تكرهوا فتياتكم على البغاء إن أردنا تحصنا لتبتغوا عرض الحياة الدنيا، ومن يكرههن فإن الله من بعد إكراههن غفور رحيم. ولقد أنزلنا إليكم آيات مبينات ومثلا من الذين خلوا من قبلكم وموعظة للمتقين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة، إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.